Hello, my dears. My name is Joanna, and I welcome you to the Johanna Draconis, the Deconstruction of PTSD podcast. In this episode, we will talk about rewriting your brain or changing yourself. This is obviously important, especially if you want to recover from such a severe illness. This topic is basically a continuation from the last episode, where we talked about how to plan your healing path. Now we talk about how to actually change. It might appear rather complicated, but it is very simple once you get the hang of it. This is basic knowledge you can use again and need throughout your life. Let's talk about it. Once again, we are talking about a question that keeps appearing in almost every media. Is the human capable of changing itself? And the answer is yes, but damn is it hard. You are the sculpture and the stone. That makes it a pretty exhausting and time-consuming act. I have hinted and shortly covered it before, and I thought it was a fitting follow-up to last week's episode. So how do we change? The most important factor for that is that you really need to want it. And I mean it. Not saying you want to change something, but unwilling to change anything. But also don't try to change too much or the brain resets it. We can't change other people or making them change. They must want it. But we can change ourselves. Our brain is similar to a computer or book if you want to. You can rewrite and change things. But you must understand how the writing process works. Once something is learned, the brain is usually rather unwilling to unlearn what it learned. The reason why it is so important to keep kids safe from bad influence. So first, we're going to talk about how the writing process works and how you can train yourself. So how does the writing process work? Well, each time you make an experience, learn something or the like, the brain weights down the knowledge it gained from it. That can also be wrong knowledge. The more often this knowledge is repeated, the stronger and bigger it is represented in your mind. So to change it, you must take one of those knowledge lines and replace it with a new one. The thing is, you can cheat. You can't just write anything there, you can only replace it with new experience or the like based knowledge. Otherwise, we could just tell ourselves everything is fine, which it isn't. For example, if you walked always only leaning on your left leg, you have the knowledge imprinted for each time you took a step leaning on your left leg. So now you have to walk leaning on both legs. Each step is rewriting one step leaning on your left leg. Now, before you worry, rewriting is actually faster than writing it originally, especially if the new knowledge is more beneficial to you. So you don't have to worry that if you train wrong for 5 years, that you need to train 5 more years to turn it back. But it also won't happen overnight. In my estimate, it should be 1/10 or less. There are many factors going into this. How much was original writing enforced? Was it instilled? Was it consistent? How far off is the new knowledge from the old one? And so on. But definitely the core aspect of rewriting is the regular repetition. You want an example? Eat an apple, or whatever of your choosing, each day at the same time, place, and best after an activity. Soon you should feel the need for an apple around that time and after the activity. This also works the other way around. We can train ourselves to only want to eat unhealthy things. But that is another topic. That is also the reason why rewarding yourself after you succeed at doing something is so important. It enhances the new learned knowledge. Now, the physical thing is easy enough. But what about psychological? And that is where it becomes a bit more tricky. I know it sounds silly, but by thinking about it. This can be achieved alone or with the help of others. The most common way is to talk with a friend to get their opinion. But they are also limited. Or you read someone else's experience with their topic. Each time you reach a real conclusion, you will write something. Even if you don't feel like you have gotten it all figured out, it is enough to come to any conclusion. So each time you review a topic, you are changing the line written down. It is important to not just expose yourself to the knowledge, but actively engage in it. I mean, do you agree? If yes, why? With all? With what do you not agree? Why? What about aspects? Another good version are movies. Some movies are able to talk about what we feel without talking about it. I usually feel drawn to those movies and series. Not sure how to best describe it, but there is suddenly the need to watch it. Either way, the engagement with the topic is the important part. I had yesterday the pleasure to be suddenly without electricity. It is bad enough in the summer, but in winter, it means sitting in the darkness, especially if you didn't know where your candles are. It took at least 7 hours. I still don't know what the issue was, but they dug up a huge hole between the two apartment complex houses that were affected. Half a day was lost. You really don't know how blocked you are without electricity until you suddenly are without. But to be honest, I was just mostly annoyed that I couldn't get anything done. I knew it would be fine. The biggest worry I had that they won't be done before finishing time and just leave. Everything else was solvable, maybe annoying, but that is it. The only really stupid part was the doorbell. Yep, also didn't work. So my package is now in a package shop I can't reach. Well, what now? Besides that, we all sat next to our Christmas LED lights who used batteries. And maybe some candles. The house was in an uproar. So much activity. I haven't heard in a while. Sitting in the dark really is depressing. So, praise the light. And always have your mobile at least 50% loaded. That was it for today's episode. A bit short, but that was an interesting start into the new year. I really hope that isn't a sign of how the rest of the year is going to go down. Hope you had a better start into the new year. But hey, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, which is the most important thing. With that being said, if you have any questions or feedback and the like, please let me know at contactme@johannatakonis.com. More information and transcripts you can find as usually under johannatakonis.com/podcast, and links are in the description. I hope to see you next time. Watch yourself and have a wonderful time.